Sometimes people have really busy lives. They're running around, look at you, and with kids and running a business. And right now in this season of your life, maybe it is writing a check for $100.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, can you just use this money out and buy pizza for the kids tonight?
Welcome to the Best for Your Next podcast, brought to you by Owl Roofing. I'm Bea and Anya, and this is Anya Berglund, and we are the co-owners of a Shoreview-based company that believes in protecting your home and also means investing in people and communities that make it meaningful.
On this podcast, we sit down with local leaders, mentors, and different makers in our community that make our neighborhoods and change them in powerful ways. And today we are truly honored. We're going to welcome Tammy Moberg. And I'll have a little introduction, and then Tammy will share with you what she would like you to know about her. Tammy has been a part of Mounds View and Arden Hills community for over 30 years. She's a social worker, foster parent. She's a mentor. She's an advocate for youth. She's a co-founder of Quincy House that you might have heard about, it's a safe and supportive space for students who need encouragement, consistency, and community-based setting that goes beyond the school day. Alongside her husband, David, Tammy has opened her home to countless young people, myself included, served through schools, churches, nonprofits. She quietly and loudly shaped a lot of lives with through compassion, education, and what many, and me included, would call unreasonable hospitality. Tammy, we are so grateful you're here with us, and thank you for saying yes.
Thank you. We'll see how that goes.
Well, would you add something to my introduction?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for giving me a hold of it. Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored to be here with you guys. And it's easy because I love you and love your husband and want this business to be super successful for your families. And so it's important to support each other and show up for each other. And I'm grateful. Love you like a daughter. So it's fun.
All right. So we're going to dive into some questions. But feel free to add anything that you want for context and things like that. So you lived in Arden Hills for decades. What made this community feel like home? And what keeps you back here now?
Good question, but easy to answer because I grew up in Columbia Heights. I was planning to actually go to Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, but I got sick my senior year with Guillain-Barré, which kept me here in Minnesota, and I chose Bethel University to go to school. And so there's where I met my husband, David. And that's when I kind of got more familiar with this neighborhood and the lakes and how pretty it was. And just really felt like it was a nice neighborhood. I didn't really know it when I was at college. We lived 1 minute from the campus. That wasn't our dream or anything, but we were some really good friends and we found this property and we ended up dividing it with our really good friends. And we were 23, 24 years old. And we ended up, both of us, building our homes and raising 10 kids together. We each had 4 boys and 1 girl. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, 8 little boys running on that neighborhood and 2 little girls. And it was just, I feel like it was just an incredible blessing. And
that's like a dream. Everybody is like, I want to raise my kids with my friends.
Yeah.
And you're in a little compound.
Yes, it was kind of a compound. We went back in the woods and the kids got to run and play and really develop what they are today is because of that. So we're really thankful for that family and for what they meant to us, what they meant to our family. So
that's awesome.
Sorry.
So you and David met at Bethel.
Yes.
And you raised 5 kids.
Yes.
Fostered many more. How many more kids did you foster beyond?
One day we were just going to write down. I mean, I think over 100 people have lived in our home, besides
100 people in her home. That is crazy.
It is. But remember, we've been married 43 years. And we started fostering babies when we were living in our first home, which was in St. Anthony Village.
Okay.
And we had 2 little boys that we had, Matt and Aaron. And then we took in some kids that were living in crisis. And so I was probably 21 at that point or something like that. But yeah. So it started a long time ago. So 100 was easy to get to.
Most people, it's they have 2 kids, 3 kids. All right, ready for them to leave for college. I'm just done. I'm just going to keep going. That is very impressive.
What's your favorite way to spend time with your family right now?
I would say because now it's grown, I have amazing daughter-in-laws that joined our family through marriage and amazing grandchildren. Of course, we all think as grandmas are the best, So we have 8 little grandkids, 1 little girl, 7 boys. It's 1 more girl coming, and so that's really fun to think about. And we love just to be as a family, play pickleball, go on vacation, go to our cabin, and just play, hang out together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have one follow-up question. So I'm a very new boy mom. Anya is expected to be a new boy mom.
Yeah.
What is your advice as being like an expert boy mom?
I am no expert. Believe me, I made a million mistakes, but I think it's just embracing the hectic, the crazy. They're loud. They're so loud.
That's what I'm like. Oh,
and embrace it and create like a community center in your own home where kids want to be and hang out and have the boys stuff. We were fortunate enough to live near the woods so they could go out with their little do paintball and play outside. And I think boys are awesome. Amazing, raising amazing men who love God and will be leaders someday. And now they are in their own communities. So definitely, that's off that. So
cool.
Yeah.
Good advice.
I have a fun question.
Okay.
Since you've been married for over 40 years.
Yeah, 43 almost. Yes.
Is there anything that you wish David knew or understood better? As a wife.
And those the wife. Oh, can you answer that for me? You find them David better than I do. Gosh. After 43 years, I feel like he knows me pretty well. I'm really super thankful for him. We still just have a ton of fun together, love each other, like each other still. That feels like an incredible gift these days, to still be madly in love with your husband after all this time and still look forward to seeing him and being together. He teases me. He already knows this. I mean, at first when I got married, I really wanted to live in the inner city, and so we still could drive downtown. I'm like, we still find a really cute house here, and so he knows that. But I don't know. I can't think. What do you think? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm thinking when I first, because I met you probably 10 years prior.
Yeah.
Meeting David.
Yeah.
And then when I moved in to go to Bethel, I remember she would tell to his own kids, but then sometimes he would look at me and he would go, remember who you are. Remember why I'm Blackbird.
Yeah. That just remember who you are and who you belong to is what he said to her kids every time he left the house. Yeah.
And then it was just such a fatherly and strong calling you to a higher standard. So I thought I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't know, maybe she knows it all.
I think we're finding out new things all the time. I just am not thinking when I saw that question of what it would be. He knows my heart. Sometimes he probably, my heart breaks a lot, for what I'm seeing in the world and people. And sometimes you just get busy and you keep doing life and you don't always get to read what's going on. And I think it's important in marriage to ask questions where you am today and then find out. So I think David does a really good job of just kind of checking in and, he knows I see a lot of hard things and to really be happy. So I don't know. It is.
You've always had a heart serving others, at different levels and different capacities. When did you first realize it's not just a job in your education to be a social worker, but it's more of a calling?
I've been asked that question before, and I think it's really how God wires us, right? I feel like I don't know how else to explain it. I feel like all of us are called to different lanes in life, and all of us are given different eyes to see, and so many more people are way more talented than I am, way more smarter than I am, everything better than me. I just think I have kind of just not a heart, but eyes that just kind of saw those that were hurting or something. I don't know how to explain it any better than that God created me the way I am. And sometimes it can be too much. But I do believe that he gives us all our own means. And I think my heart has just gone for those people that are in crisis or hurting. And it doesn't matter what community they come from. I just see their needs and just feel like someone needs to step in and meet those needs. I think that caused us to live that way, maybe.
You fostered and took care of like babies.
Yeah.
And what did that teach you, and how was it? How hard was it to return them back?
Oh, hard. Right. We used to do crisis nursery, which was part of Ramsey County for many years. And so we would take kids in that were living in cars or shelters. And it was for only a period of time, like 7 to 8 hours or something. And the moms would then have an opportunity to look for a job or to find better housing for their kids. And yeah, sometimes it was really hard. We had our stories with Destiny that, mom was so desperate that she really wanted us to take her little girl. And we had her, over a year. Destiny was with us. And we had kind of gone through the steps to figure out a family. We knew that as a family of 5 and the ages of our children, she wasn't going to be part of our family, but we wanted her to be part of a loving, safe, and it was a biracial family that actually wanted to adopt her. And then the mom at the last minute pulled her out of our family unexpectedly and never saw her again. And that was really painful. So there has been, a lot of hard times, and I think it has really taught us to meet people where they're at and to stand back and not judge. They're doing the best they can with what they know and the tools they can give them. And I really believe that it's taught us to love people well. I do, and where they're at. And I think that was what all of our kids that were older, ISO voters, and a lot of people will say, well, why are those boys just out walking on the street with their pants down, and why aren't they working? Why aren't they doing something productive? And my husband, David, would say, until you come home and you see 10 kids of color on your couch, hanging out, watching TV, and hear their stories, do you step back and go, yeah, life's not so easy. There's so many more obstacles for them. And it has opened our eyes to that, to stand back and not judge, and to love, and to realize that, we do have a calling as believers and people that follow Jesus to kind of step in and be the fathers to these kids, no matter what the age, and to moms, and fall on their faces lots of times. But I think it's important. There's no such thing as other people's children, right?
I'm with that. That was going to be my next question. Why do you not just, wire money? Why do you always show up to the VA list? And I think you answered that so. I know that you were working at Irondale High School.
Yeah.
When I was living with you. And there was that Stripes program.
Yes.
And that's kind of how you got maybe introduced more to teenagers.
Yes.
Not that you haven't.
No.
But I think that's how Quincy House was born.
Yeah, it is.
Would you speak about that a little more?
I love Quincy House. It's a really good place. And I think I went to work, our district is really interesting because we have a big school district, but we have 2 high schools, 2 middle schools, and they both feed into 2 different sides of the community. There's the east side and the west side. And really, if you look back in history, a lot of it was formed because of redlining and because of highways put in and different things, which is interesting to read about. And when I was working, our kids went through Mounds View, but when I was working at Irondale, I would work with a lot of kids that came from really hard homes, maybe where there's no father figure. They're living under the poverty line. They're hungry. And these are the kids that probably act out the most at school. So my little role was to kind of be the one that steps in and walks the halls with them and try to de-escalate and try to come around and love them, see them from who they are. And I remember just talking to my friend, Ashley Stultz, and she would say it would be changing. I was in special ed helping there too. And so we'd be talking around these kids and talking about what we could do better. And I just said, it'd be my dream to just find a home where these kids could go after school, because so many kids at school didn't want to go home after the end of the day. And the building supervisors would want to get those kids out and get home themselves. And these kids just didn't want to go home. And I just really never seen that in my little bubble over here. And I thought, man, we just want a safe place for them, that they'll thrive better in a safe place where they're loved and accepted and embraced. And so I came forward, told David that, and then I started working on trying to find a home. And I found someone that was at the time a city council member, and he found a home for me. And I just remember being so happy. It was on Quincy Street over here near Irondale. And that's why oh, I'm not very farsighted, am I? Because I was like, oh, the Quincy House, we'll always be in a small little house. We'll never have that many kids. We will never need bigger space. Just to come find out, it was really something that grew. And a lot of kids wanted to be there. And we outgrew that house. And then the amazing God story is that we outgrew it. And then churches would take us in for a little bit, but kids weren't really comfortable coming there. But I started looking for another house, and I found this home on Red Oak Avenue, and it was sitting empty, and it was really quirky, like just big spaces and kind of unusual, but it was just a perfect fit for our kids. And there was nothing else like it with these big spaces in that community at all. We're all little ramblers with just like everybody else did, like our houses and stuff. But this house was amazing. But I remember sitting and praying in January in the driveway. I would just pray, like, God, if this is supposed to be our house, we pray, God, that you give it to these kids, And it was just a cold day in January, and it was a Friday, that was for me. And the next day on Saturday, I was watching our Quincy House kids play basketball because they're in a church league. And I got a call from a woman I had not spoken to for months, maybe a year or something. And she called and said, Tammy, did you find a house for all the kids that you're serving? And I said, yes, but it's way out of our budget. It was $350,000, I believe, at the time. And my husband was going to, we didn't have money. And no one else was really ready to jump in and do that for us. But she said, why don't you come out this afternoon and let's talk about it. So I went out with a friend and we sat in her living room. And that day she wrote me a check for $350,000.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
I still can get kind of jacked up about that because I remember going to Healing Haiti that night. And I remember having to go to room something made by nylons or something stupid for the night. But everyone I saw was like, I got to tell you this. I mean, it's like I saw the parting of the Red Sea. Like, God is still doing miracles today. Now, he is still changing these lives. And now these kids, not only that, she said, I want you to have all the furniture in my house. I have a big table that they can all. And that was my heart, is I wanted all these kids to have a place at the table and to sit around. And what a joy that's been, because these kids can sit around. And one little girl, I remember, she was in high school, but she said, Tammy, I don't know what to make for dinner. Her parents were both disabled in the trailer park over here. And she was in charge of feeding her family. But she'd get the food from the food shelf. And most of it was cans with some fresh meat. And she was like, I just don't know what to make anymore because I don't know what to use to, And I remember a kid across the table going, no way, that's my palate. I don't know what to make either for my parents. And I don't know how to, living it and just being able to share your stories and to go, for really, I cannot, I found someone that understands. I remember this girl, teachers would get mad at her because she would come to smoke and accuse her of smoking outside the school. She lived in a small trailer and her parents were heavy duty smokers. And they didn't always wash her clothes. So she'd come to school and these teachers would judge her based on where she was coming from. And that's probably what broke my heart the most, is that these kids, no one knows where they're coming from. And so they come in thinking they're angry kids there. And they're not. They're just hurt kids. They're just kids that want to be loved. And these parents try their best, but it was just hard. And her worst thing was that she'd go to bed and she was always afraid the chili was getting burnt out because her parents were going to fall asleep. Smoking. That same family, their water was frozen in the winter time, and they would go to the gas station right by their house and shower and brush their teeth. Those are the things that I say to people. I traveled 3,000 miles to Ukraine, 5 times, and go multiple times, and you don't have to go. You can go 1 mile down your road and find people in need that need you. That's it. That's Quincy House. It's a great place.
That's awesome. I mean, it's like I not too long-winded. I feel like that's just such a inspiring story. And I think as a person, I hear those things and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to help. I want to give back. And seeing a lot of the things that are happening in our communities right now, it's a scary time, place for them.
Right.
But how would you encourage? Because I think sometimes I get overwhelmed because I'm like, there's so much need. And like you said, in our community.
Yeah.
How do you take that first step? How did you kind of figure out this is the next small thing that I can do? Because I think so many people almost feel paralyzed by starting because they don't know how to get to the very, a whole house. What would you advise for somebody that is I just want to do one small action for somebody today?
Well, I think you kind of have to look inside and see what your gifts are.
Yeah.
You know, you might be an incredible listener, and you might be able to say, I'd love to meet with a girl and one-on-one and just have be someone that they can talk to, someone that they can kind of process with, you know. And that maybe would be volunteering at Quincy House and coming in and being there on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, getting to know the kids. You know, a lot of life comes from relationships, and trust is built on that. They know they need to know that they can trust you. And I think that is one way. I think sometimes people have really busy lives. They're running around, look at you, and with kids and running a business. And right now in this season of your life, maybe it is writing a check for $100.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, can you just use this money? I'm going to buy pizza for the kids tonight for dinner, you know, at Quincy House. Because, wow, that'd be an incredible gift. And that's just as important as showing up at the house. You know what I mean? It really is. We all have our seasons in life, and we can't do it all.
Yeah.
So, like, even right now with everything crazy and all the pain we're seeing, you know, I can't be running around every single day with grandkids I'm trying to help, or family, or aging parents, or whatever it may be in a season you're in. But I can maybe help 2 families, and I can maybe bring some joy to them by bringing food, or, you know, whatever it is. Just being there, a visitor. You don't never. But you have to kind of understand what season, and you can't guilt yourself. Because you know what, I can't do it all, and I hate to say I need to stay in my lane. Because you know what, I there's so many things I'm not good at, but I know what I can do.
Yeah.
And I think as young moms, I think we have to remember that our kids are our ministry right now too, and that's really an important place to be present. And goes by really fast. Now my kids are all adults, and I can pour into kids.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
I haven't done.
Yeah.
My life so done.
Super. Yeah. Well, and I think I've seen something too that's like right now in this time of like just a lot of pain and things happening. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is like raise compassionate humans.
Yes.
And we're at a very young age of our kids, but I think it is so true, like seeing you do things for people, and it's like you just never know where kids are coming from. And like if they even have a friend at school that's just like, hey, I'm not going to judge you for your clothes smelling. Like I think just giving your kids that compassion. Awareness that like not everybody gets to just run to Target and grab whatever food they need. Right. And like,
they don't get to take out any cereal they want.
No, exactly. And like our kids, you know, my daughter fights me on like what kind of socks that she wants to wear and things like that. And it's like how lucky we are that like that's our battle. In sorting.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's both doing an amazing job with just putting us, let me tell you.
True.
Yeah. You are. And that's
some days.
Well, we know like, some days are harder than others.
Some days I'm like, I'm terrible at this. How do I raise a compassionate child and I can't even be compassionate to them?
Right.
No, I think that's a good, just taking that small step. And sometimes it is, donating money or funds because we don't always have time.
Right. Or you start knowing people in your community that possibly clothe kids or feeding kids, and you can kind of go, man, my kids have outgrown these clothes. You know, Tammy works directly. I know Susie works directly when his families, maybe they could just drop off a bag. That's all that's moving out. Well, that is huge, you know, and knowing your capacity. I think it's really important to have discernment and wisdom as a mom too, to go, what's my capacity?
Yeah.
You know, what can I do today? Because we can only do so much, you know, and we can only give so much. And right now, those little kids are just the most important thing. And so there you go, sweetie.
Cute. Was it hard to have us Quincy House to somebody else? How did you decide to retire? Because part of us, we were at your retirement party. We were talking like, Tammy's not going to retire.
You know, I feel like I'm really proud of Quincy House, to tell you the truth. I really feel like I feel so proud of it. Like if there's one thing besides my family, and I love that there's a space now where kids can come, and that was because of my friend Wayne and I collaborating and thinking like, what can we do next for these kids that we're both working with, you know? And after doing it for those 10 years, and then my mom was aging, and that was a big part of my reason. And my kids were needing some daycare on some days. And I felt like for a while I was being able, like I thought to myself, oh, I can do all of it. I can go see my mom. I can go run Quincy House. All these kids at Quincy House needed me at different hours of the night or staying in our house, and then grandkids. And I felt like I couldn't be present anywhere, it kind of felt like to me. And so when I started feeling like I wasn't giving my best to anything, you know, I had a really good friend, Darnell Baker, who I have loved for so long. And his heart was our community. He lived in our community forever. I knew he would love these kids well. And so it was easy. David and I both had been putting things in his ear, like for a while, like he just kind of was still working full time a job and, doing his thing. And then finally God touched him, and said, this is the time. So I really believe it was God's timing. And, it is like handing off your baby. But I can't think of anyone better to hand off my baby too. He's just amazing. So I feel really good about where Quincy's at today and the kids are serving.
I know you're a reader and you've been a part of a book club for like 25 years. Is there like a fun book or two that you recently read that you were like inspired by or something that people should know about?
Well, you know what, Bud? No. I gave it to you for Christmas. But I thought that I had read so many good books. But I love Theo Golden. I loved it. It's not one, I'm not sure a year ago or 2 years ago I would have picked it up and gone, oh my gosh, I love this book so much. I think it was a season in our world right now and in our community. It was kind of a slower pace read. It was full of kindness, humanity, and sweet stories about a man making a difference in his community. And it's not a compelling mystery or anything like that. It's just a sweet story that's good for your heart.
What's the name of it?
Theo.
Okay.
Yeah, by Arden Hills. I thought it was really great. Another book I loved was The Correspondence.
Oh, you already read that? I just ordered it.
Oh, it's so good. I loved it so much. I think it's by Virginia Evans. Yeah. And then another one is Culpability. Okay. Oh, and I don't know. I can't remember that. So good. I couldn't put it down. So anyways, I'm an avid reader. Yeah. I think that's my favorite book. There you go. I could go on and on.
I like a book review.
Yeah.
Just jumping back quick, and then I've got some fun questions for you too. How can people get involved if they want to work with the Quincy House or be part of it? And what's like a good next step for anybody in our community? Because Owl Roofing is partnering with Quincy House as well. So we're super excited about that. But how, from your perspective, what's the best way to get back and get involved?
Okay. Well, first of all, next weekend we're having a gala.
As a team,
which is going to be amazing. The known Minneapolis is coming to sing, and we're trying to raise money, of course, at Quincy Kids and going to camp and for our staff, which I think is really important. One thing I'm really proud of that Darnell and other community members have now collaborated together on is we have an emergency fund set up at Quincy House for families in our community affected by ICE who are not able to pay their rent or their utilities. And so people can give online to, you can visit quincyhouse.org. And online, it'll show you the events like the gala. It'll show you ways to volunteer. And then it'll also show you a link to go to donate to families in crisis right now. And I think our goal is to raise $15,000. We have a whole list of kids from Arden Hills School, from Irondale, Edgewood, that may be evicted if we don't step up and pay some of their rent. So a lot of us in our community have just been doing that one family at a time, and the need is really growing. And even though ICE are pulling out, I believe that this is going to have long-term ramification for these families that haven't been able to go to work because they're scared. Yeah. So that's I'm really proud of Quincy House for stepping in and doing that with our community.
We are all about community. Wondering what's your favorite local restaurant or two?
Okay, creative. Well, my favorite is Valdemar. All the time. Yes. On every time, any day, all day. I love the people that work there. I love the manager, Michael, who's a good friend of ours now. I love at the setting. I love their food. If it's fast and we just don't want to make dinner, Tavern City Bar is kind of another all-time favorite because it's close and we know what we like and we know the people there now. And I think there's a little bit of that Cheers feeling, where everybody knows your name and it feels good. It does feel good when people know who you are. I think it does. You want to give that back to people too, And so Valdemar, the Tavern, are two. Love.
Those are two good ones. What's your favorite dish at Valdemar? I just went the other day and I got like the brisket and nachos or something. Oh my gosh, they were so good.
Oh, wow.
Yes. What's your favorite? Like your go-to?
My go-to. Okay, our go-to for sure is bread of life at the beginning. We love the bread of life. And I always ask them to slice it because I don't want to slice it myself. Oh, so good. Then I love their salmon. I love their salmon. And I think all their steaks are really good. And their loaded baked potato.
How's it like?
So, yeah, that's what be. Salmon would be one of my. Yeah, because I love seafood. So,
Like it.
All right, so I kind of touched on this a little bit, but just for someone who's listening that feels like they want to make a difference and they might feel a little just like overwhelmed by all the options. And, you know, there's a lot of different places that you can donate to, ways that you can participate. What would be your biggest advice for them as just like what to look for in a place that they're giving back?
I would say to that question, when people are looking at places to give back, is I think you have to kind of look at your own heart and what do you value?
Yeah.
You know, it could be different from Anya and I could have different places that we want to give to because of our value system.
Yep.
You know, it could be that I want to give to mama bears, you know, because I really want to support the LGBTQ community and I want to do that.
Yeah.
It could be that someone really cares about food hunger, you know, and so maybe they're going to give to the food shelf. I think when I used to meet with donors, I really want to know, like, what interests you? What do you care about? You know, it could be that right now you care about Somalia or you say,
well, sure.
yeah, someone that's in Africa where people are being, you know, murdered and killed and there's no food and you want to send money to World Vision or World Relief. All those things matter. They're all important. So I always think you always have to check your own heart to see what you care about. It could be that people really care about animals and they want to give to the Humane Society. Awesome. Yeah. Like there's no one better than the other. They're all people and animals.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. And that's if I'm right or not, but Tammy,
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a faithful leader. Oh, we're gonna make you sad. Thank you for leading by example. And I know you. I mean, I live with you, so I can attest to everything you're saying. You're actually doing. You're walking the walk, and I love you. Thank you for raising the children the way you raised them, and thank you for letting them be people that they God inspired or would have others to be in, for not being in their way, but being a support and encouragement and just standing alongside. I was looking you up online to see if there is anything already written about you, and there was a little bio, and you were hugging Matt, and you kind of were in the dance. I think that was maybe like an introduction to when Quincy first like back to 2014 or 15, and I just was such a beautiful portrait of like how you love your children, and biological and not. Wanted to ask you, Tammy, about your experience working with Noah. I know he project managed the siding at your house.
Yes.
Would you share a couple of words about that?
Yes, I'd be happy to. We had our siding done, I believe it'll be 2 summers ago. And we had kind of had the same siding on forever, aluminum siding. I may not get all these words right, though, but but we definitely need to get new siding. And so, of course, because we knew Noah and what he did, we reached out to Noah, and we just had an amazing experience. Well, we love Noah. We trust Noah, and I think that's really important. I mean, you can get kind of sidelined with lots of different quotes and people, and you really want to know who you're working with. So I couldn't give anybody a more higher recommendation because he loves you and we love him, and the trust piece is huge. And I think that made it really a sweet experience because we were able to talk, and, you know, if I had a question about things, super easy to get hold of. And Noah, if anybody I know, gets back to people just fast. And people don't know that. I like how he's in office phone. But at the same time, that's what makes him so successful, is that he's easily available and he's super easy to talk to. He never makes you feel stupid. He was really informative. He had a lot of information about what we were choosing. And he was really patient with me because I wasn't really sure like what color I exactly wanted. And he'd bring more options and all the pricing that went with it. And that made a big difference to Dave and I. And I just felt like he and his team did a really nice job. And we get so many compliments on our house, and so many people saying they love the color and they love the work that was done. They can notice the details that they put into it that I don't know much about siding. But it does look really pretty. So I'm really happy we went with him, and I would highly recommend. He is one of my favorite kids.
Thank you. But yeah, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for being our first guest.
Oh, yeah, this was awesome. I loved it.
Yes.
So great.
And thanks for joining us on Best for Your Nest. And we'll be back next time. We're going to be talking to other local community leaders, moms, people who are just out here supporting our area and put on by our listeners.
Protect your nest from the storm, keep 'em cozy and warm. Ooh, owlroofing.com